let me see the mic.
Turn the mic on. Get a mic set up.
Three, two, one, go.
All right, so what's the question? Here, I'll let you ask the question.
Okay. So my question is, from the income and the rentals that you, from the income from the rentals that you have, how do you pay yourself? How do you get paid?
Okay. All right, so great question. How do we get paid? However we want to get paid, you know, whatever makes sense. So if you're asking about with the mobile home parks, I will tell you there's several ways to get paid in real estate. Okay, this is a conversation I have a lot with people, and I'm going to do my best to teach all this without a whiteboard. I usually use a whiteboard. There's three buckets of income. There is your A, let's say A, B, and C. There's your number one is like, what do you do to pay your bills? Is that your job? Is this you have a business? Whatever you do, you need to fill that bucket first. For a lot of you guys, you're a real estate agent, maybe you're a house flipper. That is your essential, your job, whatever you do to pay your bills. Okay, so when I was starting in real estate, I had a full-time job, and I began buying rentals. What was rentals? The B bucket. And what is a B bucket? You may want to call it passive income bucket, which rentals are not. I call it a recurring income bucket. So as I was working my job in the A bucket, I started buying rentals, recurring income. Okay, so then that bucket starts to fill up. At some point in time, now you're also going to create a C bucket, which I had no buckets in the beginning. I was barely paying my bills, but that C bucket is your wealth bucket. Okay, as the more active income you make, the more passive recurring income that you make, now that overflows to creating wealth, creating large sums of equity in your properties. Maybe you invest in precious metals, things like that. So I've been doing this for 6-7 years with the mobile home parks. I don't take any money from any of my parks. No, I did not do 6 or 7 on purpose. Maybe I did, I don't know. So I really don't take any money from my parks. Okay, so it's thus far, everything I make on my parks, it goes back into the parks. CapEx, putting it in there, building up reserves, what have you. So I'm not really taking a salary from that. I take a salary from my A bucket, which is my main company where I do flipping, I do real estate activities. So I take income from that. I'm an employee of that company, real estate commissions, but the way that I view my parks are long-term wealth. They're long-term wealth creation. So at some point in time, will I? Maybe, but I'm trying to get to a point where any money that I make is going back to be reinvested either in those parks, or I'm taking out money to reinvest it in other places. If y'all can just get that one lesson out of this weekend, you're on the road to creating wealth. Fill up that A bucket, okay, your active income. If it's at a job, if you love your job and enjoy your job, there's nothing wrong with that. If you dislike or borderline hate your job like I did, there's something wrong with that. Find something that you enjoy, even if you make less money. You make less money, and find something that's synergistic with you building wealth and building your real estate business. So that's what I did. So I quit my job, began house flipping, and started doing construction for other people with my team. So I built a business and invest in real estate. So that's one of the things that you do. And as you're building your business, then you start investing in real estate, not necessarily to pay your day-to-day bills, but to create wealth and essentially get rich and create freedom. But people try to speed this thing up and buy some rentals or do whatever. Or even like I see people, doing little things to like try to, live off a passive income in 6 months or a year, whatever. Like that's dumb. Like literally nobody does that, especially when you're starting from scratch and nothing. So the way that I treat my parks is I'm looking at it a long-term play. Everything. This is long-term wealth. This is a C bucket play for me. It is a B bucket recurring income that's helped filling up my C bucket, and y'all can see that I showed you on these sheets that I put. There's a lot of equity in these properties in a fairly short period of time, and it's growing. and it's growing pretty quickly.
Do you plan to sell? Your mentors told you to keep refinancing or just pay those parts off? I mean,
Well, okay, so it depends on who you talk to. Okay, so when it comes to do you refinance them? Do you pay them down, or do you sell them? Do you trade up to bigger properties and all this kind of stuff? So going back to this.
What do you think?
Okay, so Sam Zell, even though he wasn't my mentor, was kind of like my mentor. When you read a book from somebody, they're mentoring, right? Like if you listen to what they say. So Sam Zell never sold a mobile home park ever.
But it doesn't mean that he didn't refinance them.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know where he stood on that. I believe that they did leverage a lot. So I'm not one where I want to refinance and leverage everything. I like my equity building up, and I'm also like I use a lot of debt, but I'm not one that's like leverage everything to the hilt and all that. I get a little bit nervous like being over leveraged at times because I put myself in some situations. So I'm more towards like right now I'm like probably halfway through of like my really good years of investing. So I'm like going to start looking at the downside. So my plan is probably do nothing for the next 5 years except refinances when interest rates drop low enough. You know, I may end up paying these parks off, or ultimately my ideal thing is I will keep them for 5 to 10 years and then sell or finance them to someone like a younger version of myself, or even do a JV thing so I can keep them locked in and do something like that. Yeah.
It is not better right now that you have good equity, start taking it out and buy more parks or buy land or anything.
Okay, so that's a good question too. So, you know, should I start taking equity out to buy more parks and more property? I don't have to. You don't have to. Good deals and trustworthy people. If it's a good deal, a key indicator of a good deal is you can get 100% financing. Those numbers still make sense. So I don't even have to. I did pull out some money on to invest in a large tract of land that my buddy David brought. Not the first and second one did syndications, but that third one, the 200 acres that we bought in Angleton, I did put cash in that. So every now and then I can pull cash if I want to pull cash to invest it, but not necessarily like to buy a park, for example. I've not had to do that yet. Every park we've bought with 100% financing, 100% every single one. Oh, I'm sorry. John, you want to talk about your question? Was about owner financing?
Yeah, I wanted to see how you structure the owner financing.
Yep. So we've done it 2 or 3 different ways since we started buying parks. We do it, it's completely different than how we do it with a piece of real property where we have a title company closing and everything. So before we were doing it kind of bootleg, we had created an agreement to owner finance the home. There's some legalities with that, especially in Texas with like lease option type of stuff we were doing. So now we have an agreement. It's called an installment agreement. It's called an installment agreement for personal property. So we do not transfer title or anything like that. It's called an installment sale, meaning each and every month they're paying down what they owe. But it's basically owner financing, but that's the structure that we use as an installment sale contract, installment agreement contract.
And you give them the deed once they paid off.
After, yeah, we made that mistake before, like transfer title and all that. We don't do it now until they do that. Paid it off 100%.
Why'd you come back? The trailer was gone?
Huh?
Did you come back and the trailer was
We've
gone?
never had a trailer stolen. Knock on wood. Could happen.
So you come down here to check on the trailer parks like once a month or so often. Is that like a goal for you to ever not have to do that, or is it something that you think is important for you to be a part of it, like looking at things personally?
Yeah, that's a good. Okay, so I come down about once a month and make this tour that we have done essentially with one more stop. It's a quick trip. Sometimes it's a 24, 40 hour trip, like 48 hours at max. Well, not at max. One year, a few years ago, I came 4 times the whole year. I had what I was previously a really good grounds manager, and then he started, and I didn't realize what some things was going on. I was real busy, and I didn't really desire to come a whole lot, and I didn't have the third park, so I kind of took a year off, and the parks almost regressed a little bit. So the following year, I had to get a new grounds manager, and he was not really great. So I started rolling up my sleeves and coming down, not every month, but about every other month. Now I've got we have really good structure. I have a really good team in place. I don't have to come every month. Majority of the time I enjoy coming, I really do. I like driving through East Texas. In kind of my regimen, we have a contractor meeting with our contractor team. I've been doing for 14, 15 years. We meet every Tuesday morning. And so I'm at that meeting 80% of the time. That's my one time a week to talk about construction projects. So a lot of times, once every other month or so, I'll leave that meeting, make the drive up here, stop at a park, maybe 2, go to Longview, stay at the RV park, touch base with Jacob. How can I help you? What do you need? I got this, that, and the other thing. Walk properties, take pictures, shoot videos, do this. Have it done in a month or whatever. Head back home. Either the next day or I'll stay the following day. So, and the reason I've done that here lately is, one, we acquired the 4th park, and I didn't have a good team there, so I was coming a little bit more. And we've been infilling a lot of lots lately. Like this year alone, we've probably done, I don't know, with probably 12 to 15 homes in East Texas, maybe even a few more now think about it. So infilling a lot, there's a lot. You're dealing with utilities and skirting and renovations, and so I'm just kind of there to keep an eye on things. Will there be a point where I don't do as much? Yeah. But right now it's, there's an enjoyment level to it. And getting to the point where everything is like really stabilized, all my refinances are done, and really I probably won't let up too much until like they're all like really close to 100%, and then maybe I'll take a little time off. But I really do enjoy it for the most part. Like